Welcome, all fellow gamers, and to the citizens of Turia, I greet you. In this series/documentary, we'll be following the adventures of one MMORPG newbie in 2018 and 19. The core purpose of this project really is just to be a newbie helping other newbies. If that intrigues you at all, I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so you made it. My apologies for the intro. Newbie to all of this, got a little carried away with the software, and in future I promise not to put you through that again. Quick intro, my name's Brian, aka Kryptonite. And yes, as mentioned, you're going to find me as a newbie. It's worse. Virgin. Pure, untouched, uninfluenced by the last 10-15 years of MMORPGs. And playing all 9 classes. All that entails good, the bad, wins and fails, warts and all. So next on the hit list would be why. Quite simply, as over the last 6 weeks to 2 months, I've taken all 9 classes to level 10 and no further. I've started countless number of times, too many to count. Point being though, as I was doing this, I struggled to find newbie information with clarity that made sense. There's a fantastic amount of resources. Wiki is amazing. Forum is great. The community's really helpful at any time I've run into trouble, dropping a question, being polite, has always been extremely successful, and of course the endless resources of YouTube. Unfortunately, I find that this content is put together by a fantastic group of intellects who are playing a high-end game and have been there so long, 2 or 3 years, all the way back to beta, that purely by human nature they've completely forgotten what the struggle is like for us down here. So I went, what I'm going to do is, as I go, document it. And for whatever pros and cons, hopefully in there we can all dig up a little wisdom and a little clarity. Simply put, Guild Wars 2 for dummies. Yeah, I think I can summarize it as that. While on the subject, I should mention I myself may be guilty of the same crime. And the fact that there are so many directions I see as a newbie I can go, I will naturally be caught up in the things I'm drawn to of all the elements of the game, and may skip or not see components of the game you were hoping to find answers to. If I let you down, I'm sorry. Human nature again. Worth mentioning is also that I'll be playing both cash and non-cash accounts, and we can experiment and I'll feel out what the pros and cons are to that experience. I'd also go that if you're also are in the pursuit of facts and just go, give me the facts, give me the facts, give me the facts. Not going to happen. This project is obviously going to be a little bit review, hopefully largely tutorial, and my bad, maybe a little storytelling. So the last thing I'd like to add to the subject while we're on it is that clearly it's not my place to be talking tactics or statistics. But what I can do is definitely tell you how it feels. How do the realms feel? How do the races feel? And the variations of classes and combat. Those are the things I'm going to focus on. Not to give you guidance in which to choose. So many tell you, play this, play that. No. Don't listen to a word of it. Don't listen to any of it. A couple of factors. One, they don't know you, I don't know you. And doing this experiment of trying all classes and characters, I can't begin to describe how surprised I've been of what I thought I would like to what I actually liked. Classes and characters that I didn't try, didn't want anything to do with until I started the idea of documenting this project and discovering I absolutely loved it. So my advice to you is do this. Try everything and in every form, and you'll be surprisingly and extremely richly rewarded. I kid you not. And here I go into why now. Why start playing your first MMORPG in 2018? To answer that, I have to divulge a little into the history of my gaming journey. It began a million years ago as a kid, 6 or 7 years old, and putting my first shiny silver coin in the little game called Space Invaders. And I've been hooked ever since, like many of us. I've played 1,000 games. No, actually I've probably owned 1,000 games. I dare you to try and count. Go back to Flip Out Donkey Kong, to your Sega Saturns, to your name it. Anyway. In the late 90s, 2000ish, I fell in love with a little honey called Lara C. And like all pretty girls, she ruined me. And I spent too many hours in search of the thing, to unlock the thing, to open the thing, so that you could repeat the whole cycle again. And I overdid it and burnt out and grew to hate open world first or third person anything. I swore, that's it, I'm not doing this style of gaming again, it's too frustrating. A couple of years later, knocking around with a group of mates, they twisted my arm into a little game called Bond GoldenEye on 64. That's Nintendo, not Commodore. And from there I repeated the process again. I found myself looking for the thing, to unlock the thing, to open the thing, so that I could spend endless hours repeating the same process. So that was it. I'm out. I'm done, boys. And so while they were all running off to Call of Duties, Medal of Honors, Grand Theft Autos, I tried exploring drivers, Gran Turismo's about 4 or 5 edition. What else was in there? Need for Speed Underground, good one. But the drivers weren't really me. And then I came across a great little game called Diablo RPG, and really enjoyed that. Did Diablo 1 and 2. And then that snowballed into great games like Titan Quest, Baldur's Gate, series, and a lot of those. And then by one day at random, collecting dust at the bottom of a bargain bin, I found a little game called Command & Conquer Red Alert. Maybe the greatest game I ever played. And from there I was strategy, RTS, I was hooked. And for the last 15, I guess nearly 20 years, that has been my absolute gaming focus. And then Christmas gone, I went and spent time with family and caught up with old mates, and they were playing a game called PUBG. And reluctantly they forced it on me, and I gave it a go, and I really enjoyed it. I get it. I don't get the repetitiveness of it. It's not me. But what I did go was, okay, I'm going to give this style another try. So over the last 6 months, I've been trying to find a game like this I could get into. I didn't really like your Fortnites and your PUBGs. Too stressful for me. It's just go, go, go. It's just hectic all the time. I needed to find a game that had balance, that I could play an aggressive, stressful, active game, or I can just sit back and chill out. I needed a balance of both, and I was finding in my explorations this category, this genre again, nicely meets those needs. So after trying a handful, giving them an hour each, yes, Warcrafts, even the stupid ones, what is it, Fiestas, and some of those dumb Asian ones, oh, what a waste of time they were. I eventually tripped over this, and there's something really special about this one. And I gave it more than an hour. Then I gave it 9 characters and 4 emails, and here I am. Let's see where it goes. So the plan. I was so deluding myself, and completely oblivious to the fact of the monumental task I'm taking on. I had the illusion that I would do something as simple as all 9 classes level 1 to 20, 20 to 40, and then a couple of 30-minute clips. And then at about level 40 I'd pick 3 of my favourite characters of the 9 and push them right on through to endgame. And do a 3rd one, maybe 4th one, just a quick summary of what life is like at the high end. But at about level 60, I get the feeling at about level 60, all the amazing content all the old crew players have put around the net kicks into gear. Turns out that I'm absolutely wrong, and that it's a far more mammoth undertaking than I expected. It's okay, it's all good. And so I'm going to let the game tell me, and go by feel, that when there's the right time and the right amount to discuss and talk about. At this point it turns out that 1 to 10 is actually quite a monumental hurdle, and there are so many questions and so much that happens at this point so far that it's worth taking this time out to do all of this now. So the plan is, I have no plan, other than at this point my mindset is still taking all 9 classes to level 40, talking about them in detail, and from there dropping it down to 3, playing it through. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so as we start to level out this first episode, let's smash out one of the big ones. Is the game worth playing? I have 4 answers to that. Quite simply, short answer, yes. Hell yes. After 6 years of release, and let's not know how many more years in development, we are now spoiled as new gen with an incredibly well-polished machine. From environment to mechanics, mounts and gliders, it's all there. Everything's been done, everything's been polished, and in all honesty there's never been a better time since launch to actually play this game. As newbies we're extremely spoiled. So I'd roll into middle answer is depends. Depends what you're looking for in a game. I personally was looking for primarily PvE. But I wanted that temptation of PvP. The idea still a little intimidating for me right now as a newbie, but I'm feeling it maybe somewhere between level 20 and level 40 once I start to get more confident in the mechanics of the characters and the classes. I may dabble, and I'd love to explore that and introduce that into my game. The core factor, I think I mentioned earlier, is the balance. The balance of I can chase hardcore action and go for the adrenaline rush, or depending on my mood, I can just chill back for 2 or 3 hours and potter around and have quite a relaxing, enjoyable time. So I love that variation of stressful and chill. So if you're into that kind of thing, I also wanted long-term submersiveness. That's even a word. That I could just really get into for a long time and be completely consumed by the environment of the game I'm playing. And this just answers all those issues simply. Long answer would be more information required. Too soon. We're talking about the future of the game and longevity and things like that. The 4th answer I have is quite simply that when I started this, my primary thought was not is this game worth playing, but far more importantly, is this game worth buying? So the way I'm going to wager that one out, I'm going to let ArenaNet let me know if this game's worth buying. As a newbie, undoubtedly, I find in the short-term time I've played that dotted all the way along throughout the game are little gems, little treats of things I just wasn't expecting. Even if I was expecting things, you guys constantly surprise me. And so what I'm going to do is their primary currency is gems. and they use that from real currency into a game currency that you can then buy the treats. So I went, well, if they've done that to me, I'm going to do that to them, and I'm going to give them $1 for every gem I find in the game, and every gem is $1. So I introduce you to the scoreboard, and I'm going to give 1 gem for every little treat I find, and if I find something that really blows my whistle, I'm going to drop what I call a diamond, and I'm going to give them $5 for a diamond. So as I progress through the game, and I should mention, and if I find something that I just go, that's just tragic. How did that happen? If that happens, then you're gonna see I've got the poop icon, and I'm gonna give them a thumbs down and a -1 or 5, depending on what it is. I will try to be non-biased on it. I can't go, oh, I think that class is stupid, -5. I can't on that kind of mechanic. But if it's something that I go, that's just plain stupid, I will, in my own opinion. And I'm going to let the scoreboard decide how much money I think should be spent on the game. They're going to tell me. The treats and the gems and the diamonds and the poops will define. So let's see how that goes. So let's wrap up this first episode. Upon reviewing content so far, there was a couple of points I really wished I'd brought up, and I'm just going to sneak them on the end here. A critical question: is the game free? To all fellow newbies, the answer to that is technically. In reality, it's pay to play. If you want all the treats like gliders and mounts and things like that, they're hiding in the expansion packs. I've heard a couple of newbies make the mistake that they'll buy a glider in the store, but the actual skill to fly a glider, and it's a skill you have to develop, has to be done through, I'm pretty sure it's Heart of Thorns expansion pack. So I'm straight. I've done this, and that's going to tell me how much I'm going to spend on this game. But to you, I say that the sooner you get your head around that, if you can part with a few dollars and you can really enjoy the deeper and more fun features of the game, the sooner you start thinking that way, the better. Don't be a tight ass. And don't be a tight ass that complains on forums. I won't ever talk to you. Next is I'd like to hit up is I often you'll hear me use the reference old school or old school crew. It's an Australian thing we do. We put slang and nicknames on everything. And so I consider myself and you and I, people are starting the game, we are new gen. And that's quite defined by the simple fact that old school crew are anybody that's been playing the game 2 or 3 years all the way back to beta testing. For them, when they started this game, it was a very different beast, and for them it was the epic journey of level 1 to level 80. Well, for you and me it's very different. It's life after 80, and for us the game feels like level 1 to 80 is the world's most ridiculously long, drawn out tutorial. And I'm okay with that. That's fantastic news. As much as a newbie, I'm struggling to find content. What feels like from level 1 to 60, it's a struggle to find content or content that makes sense. It's fantastic knowing that down the end there is so much going on that it's almost forgotten about what happens here. That's just absolutely wonderful. Next, I would say apologies for the mic. Sound quality, yeah, it's killing me too. I'll see what I can do, as again, a work in progress. Ums, ahs, and cuts. I do apologise. I appreciate you bearing with me. Yeah, we'll see where we can do better. I'll bring it home, I promise. Next episode. A lot less of me and a lot more of these guys. I can't wait to bust them out and start sharing them with you guys. I look forward to that. In closing, I would say, if you give the game a run, you'll find me hanging out at US of Crystal Desert. It was just one of the ones that was close to mostly full. I had to pass up on the EU servers. Ping was bad. Ping was bad on both, and I had to choose from the lesser of two evils, quite simply. So, in closing, if you've got nothing better to do, give the game a run. I swear you'll absolutely enjoy yourself. I'll be around if you see me throw a wave, or breakdance, whatever works. And whatever game you are playing, make sure you're enjoying it. And I'll catch you in the next episode. See you guys around.